The auction yard was already half empty when the shouting stopped. Chains still rattled in the dust. The sun was sinking low, turning every face into a silhouette. And in the middle of that fading light stood the last person no one wanted. A silent Apache woman named Taya, her wrists raw, her back straight, her eyes fierce with a strength they couldn't sell. Everyone else had been dragged away. Everyone. But she remained. Not because she was weak, but because they feared the power of someone who refused to bow. Just as the overseer turned to leave, satisfied his trading day was done, a lone traveler stepped forward, a young ranch hand named Daniel, who had arrived too late to purchase anything he actually needed. He paused when he saw her, and something inside him tightened. It wasn't pity. It wasn't guilt. It was the shock of seeing someone still standing after the world tried to break them. And that, right there, is where our story truly begins. Before we continue this powerful story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to channel name, Leica, where every story reminds us that kindness still matters. Daniel didn't speak at first. He couldn't. Not when Taya's gaze met his and held steady. Calm, proud, unbroken. Last one, the overseer grunted. Not worth much. Take her cheap if you want her. But Daniel didn't look at the overseer. He looked at her, and that was the first act of kindness Taya had been shown in months. Being seen. I'll take her, Daniel said quietly. The overseer shrugged, relieved to be done, and tossed Daniel a key. But when Daniel unlocked her chains, Taya didn't move. You're free to walk, he murmured awkwardly. Still, she didn't move. And then he realized she wasn't afraid of him. She simply didn't believe freedom had anything to do with men like the ones who sold her. So he stepped back, put the key in the dirt, and said, walk whichever way you choose. I won't follow unless you ask me to. That startled her. Most people who claimed to offer freedom expected obedience in return. But Daniel simply waited, hands at his sides, respecting her space in a world that had given her none. After a long silence, she picked up the key, examined it, and instead of running, she whispered one word in a voice soft but steady. Why? Daniel hesitated. He didn't have a dramatic answer. He wasn't a hero. He was just a young man who'd seen too much cruelty and didn't want to be part of it. Because someone should choose compassion, when everyone else chooses profit. He expected her to leave anyway. But she didn't. Instead, Taya pointed toward the distant horizon, toward Apache lands, then pointed to herself, then to him, inviting him to walk with her part of the way. Not as owner and property, not even as protector and protected, but as two people simply moving toward whatever came next. And so they walked. For days they traveled, sharing firelight but not words, until one night as they camped near a river they heard crying, faint, lost, desperate. A child. Daniel rushed toward the sound. But Taya reached him first, swift and instinctive. She found a small boy hiding beneath a fallen log, hungry, terrified, abandoned. Without hesitation, she lifted him gently, humming an old Apache lullaby, calming him with a tenderness that crossed every border of language. Daniel stared in awe. This was the twist he never expected. She wasn't the last one left behind. She was the one still capable of saving someone else. The child clung to her like she was the only safe place in the world. And maybe she was. That night, Daniel realized something. Choosing her at the auction hadn't been an act of rescue. She was the one teaching him what real humanity looked like. By the time they reached the edge of her homeland, the boy asleep in her arms, Daniel stopped. This is where I leave you, he said softly. Taya looked at him for a long moment, then placed the child in his arms and stepped closer. She pressed her forehead to his, a gesture of gratitude, respect, and peace. Then she whispered a single word again. Why? But this time it meant something different. A question of purpose. A question of future. Daniel smiled, eyes stinging. Because kindness has to start somewhere. When she finally walked away, straight-backed, free, carrying the child she decided to protect, Daniel understood something he would carry forever. Sometimes the people the world overlooks are the ones who teach us what it really means to be human. But